Oh, Canada. Ugh. M103. M103. Hi all, today we're going to talk about Canada passing an anti-Islamophobia motion that could pose serious problems for free speech down the road. But first I want to introduce you to fellow YouTuber Hi, I Think I'm Real, who has kindly agreed to help me tackle this subject.
Hi, I think I'm real. Thank you very much, Godless Cranium, for having me on your channel. It is an honor to be here.
He runs an excellent channel and I hope you'll go check him out. His channel URL will be in the description box of this video. Now without further ado, let's jump into the topic at hand, Motion M103. So, despite a poll showing that Canadians would have voted this motion down, M103 passed with 201 votes for and 91 against. Here's a bit about the bill. The House of Commons voted Thursday afternoon to condemn Islamophobia and all forms of systemic racism and religious discrimination, but the vote for the controversial M103 was not unanimous. Liberals, New Democrats, and Green Party MP Elizabeth May were in favor. Most Conservative and all-bloc Québécois MPs were opposed. The vote was 201 for and 91 against. Now, I want to make clear that a motion isn't a law in Canada. This isn't a blasphemy law, but some people fear it's the first steps towards the creation of a law that will stifle free speech, especially when it comes to criticizing the ideas found in religions, primarily Islam, since it seems to be particularly emphasized in the motion itself. Here's a clip from Al Jazeera that explains what the motion is asking from the Canadian government. The non-binding motion, which condemns Islamophobia and all forms of systemic racism and religious discrimination, passed on Thursday among a divided parliament. It asks a parliamentary committee to launch a study on how the government could address the issue, with recommendations due in mid-November. The study should look at how to develop a whole-of-government approach to reducing or eliminating systemic racism and religious discrimination, including Islamophobia, the motion says. Now, if the motion just wanted to address discrimination based on racism and religion, I think very few people would be upset. But the real issue is the use of the term Islamophobia in the motion. The Liberal Party refused to define what the term meant, despite the Conservatives asking repeatedly to have the word either defined or set aside for the word discrimination, as you can see from this news article. So what exactly is Islamophobia, and why should we be concerned? I'm going to leave that to Real's very capable hands to explain.
The word Islamophobia is defined as a dislike or prejudice against Islam or Muslims, especially as a political force, according to the Oxford Dictionary. Now, I have two contentions with this word. First of all, using the suffix phobia suggests that this is a diagnosis on behalf of a psychological condition, which it clearly is not. Secondly, and we're not the first people to bring this up, Islamophobia as a word is immeasurably vague. Sure, not a single person should ever be discriminated against for their faith, but just criticism has often been conflated with this word, Islamophobia. So it makes sense for people to want these legislators to define what Islamophobia means in Motion 103. And Conservatives did ask for just that, all to no avail. Iqra Khalid was unwilling to water down, as she put it, her motion, despite concerns about suppression of free speech. The implications of this vagueness are troubling. Without any clearly defined lines between discrimination and just fair criticism, this motion could eventually lead to legislation that criminalizes any dissenting opinions against Islam as an ideology. Additionally, it's puzzling to me that Islamophobia is at the heart of this issue, when anti-Semitic hate crimes, for instance, have occurred at twice the number in 2014. Knowing this, it's difficult to see this motion as anything other than liberals seeking special privileges for one ideology over every other one. All of this, of course, at the cost of every Canadian's free speech.
So what happens now that the motion has been passed? Well, the motion calls for a committee study to be completed within 240 days. Once the study is completed, it will be passed back to the House of Commons with recommendations on how to tackle racism, discrimination, and the poorly defined term Islamophobia. While not certain, many people, including myself, worry that those recommendations will include laws that limit free speech and stifle criticism of religion, particularly the bad ideas found in Islam. In order to be a free society, we need to be able to criticize the bad ideas found in religion, and it should in no way be sheltered or immune to the same criticisms that any other idea or set of ideas has to face in the open marketplace of ideas. Free speech is one of the cornerstones of a free democracy, and when legislators refuse to even define poorly defined words like Islamophobia when tabling a motion, it raises all kinds of red flags in my opinion, especially when Canada already has a blasphemous libel law still in the books that can be pressed into service. Now you might be saying to yourself, that could never happen in Canada, but we recently saw a Danish man be prosecuted for blasphemy after he burned a Koran. Denmark's blasphemy law hadn't been used since 1946 until now. Do you have any final thoughts on this motion and what it could mean to free speech in Canada, Real?
Motion 103 represents the beginning of the death of free speech in the West. In order to preserve the feelings of Muslims, liberals are willing to completely shield Islam as an ideology from criticism altogether. This is not to condone those individuals on the other side of things whose hearts are consumed by hatred. This is to say that freedom of speech is a cornerstone of Western society, and words like Islamophobia serve no purpose outside of bringing an early end to vital conversation. Now, this method of policing language has a launching pad from which to go from motion to law. Undoubtedly, it's emboldened other groups in the West who are willing to sacrifice their speech for security. What Godless Cranium and I, and so many other creators here on YouTube are doing is now more important than it has ever been. Let's keep debating, discussing, debunking, and having these conversations while we still can.
Thanks a lot for joining me in this motion reel. I had a blast making it, and I wish you the best of success with your channel.
You are very welcome, Godless. Thank you for having me on this video. It's been an honor and a privilege. And if you would like to see more of my videos, then please visit my channel. Hi, I Think I'm Real. You should probably be able to find the link in the description. I post twice a week, so you got plenty to look forward to, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you all very soon.
That's it for this video. Take care and cheers.